Your mindset evolutionary here at flynubianqueen.com, the network for melanated women like you and me, and some of our fellows who like to join us too. Welcome, welcome, my brilliantly beautiful, gifted beings, my Black women. I am so happy to be here with you tonight to do part 2 to the question, do Black women lack healthy boundaries in society? Let's talk solutions. So I'm going to give you guys a chance to get in here. And while you do that, as you're coming into the building, the digital building here, please hit the like, hit the subscribe. And please, if you think this message would benefit someone or someone would enjoy hearing some of the solutions to how we individually and collectively can begin to rebuild our boundaries in society, then please, by all means, share this. If you're interested in getting your money up, please go to flynubianmoney.com. And if you have a business idea, go to flynubianbusiness.com. Now let's jump right back into this. So we're picking up where we left off last week. So just to make sure, I like to make sure that we're all on the same page. And for the new people here, the question is, do Black women lack clear boundaries? What are some of the causes, and how do we build healthy boundaries and retrain society on how to treat us? So again, boundary, according to Google, is a line that marks the limits of an area, a dividing line. And then we have the second definition is a limit of a subject or a sphere of activity. So for example, that would be a community without political boundaries is the way they use it in a sentence. It's kind of an odd way to use it in a sentence. Another word that I've used in describing boundaries is how we interact with people. So again, just for clarification purposes, to make sure we're all on the same page, to interact is a verb that means act in such a way as to have an effect on another. Act reciprocally, and reciprocally means back and forth. So your boundaries kind of dictate how you interact with people, family, friends, co-workers, and then in the case of as being a part of the community, the Black community, we're talking about how we as a community interact with the larger society, and how also we as Black women, as individuals, are interacting with the larger society. Our boundaries play a role in every single interaction we have every day. And according to Google, because we're going to take it just a bit deeper, what are personal boundaries? So personal boundaries, according to Google, are defined as guidelines, rules, or limits that a person creates to identify reasonable, safe, and permissible ways for other people to behave towards them, and how they will respond when someone passes those limits. Okay, so that's personal boundaries. And there are also such a thing as community boundaries. So if we can take the personal boundaries definition and say that community boundaries are guidelines, rules, and limits that a community creates to identify reasonable, safe, and permissible ways for outsiders, people outside of the community or the larger society, to behave towards that community, and how the community will respond when outsiders try to pass those limits. So I want us to think about this on a macro and a micro level. So the first thing we want to do is think about it on the personal level, the micro level. And once we get that right, then we can start to think bigger and address the community level. So I do see we have a few people coming in. Beverly Wright, hello. And Ricky Pop, hello. And we have Freddie Smith, always repping for the Nation of Islam. I have some little like gnat or something that's flying around here. It's so annoying. So please forgive me if you see me waving around. Ricky Pop says, I'm loving this. I need this. Thanks. Well, you are my darling, I love you, and I'm glad you're here, and I'm glad you're getting something out of it. You getting something out of it gives me something as well, because like I said, we are on this journey together. Charles X. Moore says, good evening, Queen. Now, I want to let you guys know that just like last week, I usually have more interaction with you in your comments. Now, I do still want you to put comments there, because when I go back after the video, I read them and I try to take into consideration for next videos. So if you guys have any ideas, any comments, anything you want to state, I go back and sometimes respond. I like, and occasionally I will try to take what you guys are saying and maybe bring it into another video. And so also it does spark discussion amongst yourselves as the video is happening, and I strongly encourage that. So again, welcome to Deena Jacobs Live here on Sunday evenings at 7 p.m. Pacific time and 10 p.m. Eastern time. So let's continue. So I do have a couple of quotes that I want to throw up to you, ladies and gentlemen, you queens, and let's start with this one. Caring for myself is not self-indulgence, it is self-preservation, and that is an act of political warfare. And that is from one of our feminist activists, Audre Lorde. So, you know, check her out if you have a chance and see what she was all about. I didn't have a chance to get deep into her biography, and we won't take the time to do that here. But I'm thinking maybe around Women's History or Black History Month, I'm going to dive into doing some things about celebrating some of our women who have been pioneers in different areas of our history. So we'll probably get into Audre Lorde a little deeper at another time. But I love that quote by her. And this is kind of going to be the overarching theme of our solutions tonight. Remember, ladies, caring for yourself is not self-indulgence, it is self-preservation. And that is an act of political warfare, in particular for Black women, because of our history when we were forced to care for everyone else but ourselves, right? And that is part of why our boundaries have been so weakened. And just as another reminder, I want to put this up again to show us the types of boundaries, right? So the types of boundaries we have are the healthy boundaries over here in the green. And then we have the unhealthy, limited or non-existent boundaries, where you can see there's a lot of gaping holes. There's a little bit of a boundary maybe in some areas, but they're very weak and easy to get through. And then we have the loose or the porous boundaries, where a person might think that they have a certain amount of boundaries in place, and then they found out later through other things, and they step back and say, wow, I realize that people are just kind of walking all over me because I may set a boundary, but I don't enforce it. So people walk over those boundaries. And then we have people who are so rigid, they have unhealthy boundaries in the sense that they have a wall up. So no one can get in, no one can get out. And this is very isolating and lonely for a person. Whereas this person may feel very overwhelmed. These two people feel extremely overwhelmed by everyone else's needs, and they're not meeting their own. And usually this person has been severely traumatized by people overtaking them. So you take a look at that and you keep that in mind as we're talking, and I'll probably, bring that up again. So the last time we left off, we were talking about, let's see, 12 Signs You Lack Healthy Boundaries by Sherry Jacobson. And again, I have put the links into this, I guess it's like the part up above, like the about this video section. So if you ever want to go in and like read these articles or watch the entirety of these videos, I invite you to do that. And that's why I put them there. So again, just quickly, we're going to go through where we left off. 12 Signs You Lack Healthy Boundaries by Sherry Jacobson. And this is on the harleytherapy.co.uk counseling website. And she wrote this article back on April 2nd of 2019. Number 1 is difficult and dramatic relationships. Number 2 is indecisiveness. What do you really want? Number 3 is being a people pleaser. Number 4 is guilt and anxiety haunt you. Number 5 is always being tired. Number 6 is oversharing or withholding how you feel. Number 7 is victim mentality. Number 8 is attitudinal, edgy, angry, annoyed, gaslit. Number 9 is disrespected. Number 10 is passive aggressive behavior. Number 11 is clingy. Number 12 is identity crisis, when you are unclear of your purpose due to the influences of others on your sense of self, where you lack confidence in who you are. So we went over that last week. If you didn't have a chance to join us last week, please go back into the flynubianqueen.com Facebook page. You will see a group under, if you click on videos, you will see a playlist that has been created for Deena Jacobs, and you can watch the video from last week, and I encourage you to do that to refresh your memory. So I want to play a little clip here just to set the tone of where we're going next, because next we're going to get into the self-check guidelines. Okay, and this is still coming from the UK Harley, Harley therapy.co.uk. This is an article that was shared on there by Sherry Jacobson. So she talks about self-check guidelines, but let's first set the tone with Good Boundaries Free You by Sari Gilman, or Sari Gilman. It's Sarri Gilman. And again, this link is in the About section of this video, so you can check out the entirety of it. But I think she sums it up perfectly here in what she says.
Is in the middle of a life story, and your story is being shaped by what one is in the middle of a life story.
Hold on, guys. I did not have that set up at the right place.
Everyone is in the middle of a life story, and your story is being shaped by what you are saying yes to and what you are saying no to. Your yeses and nos are what boundaries are made of.
Your yeses and your nos are what your boundaries are made of. So I want everyone to think about that for a second. What are you saying yes to in your life, and what are you saying no to in your life? Because those become your choices. And are those choices coming from you and what you really want as a Black woman in America, as a woman, as a person, as a human being on this earth? Or is that coming from programming, the larger society, stereotyping, your mother, your family, community? What I'm saying here tonight is that we have to really get in touch with who we are and know who you are as an individual person, and know if the choices, the yeses and the nos, are really truly coming from you, and on a community level, are they coming from us? The things that we as a community of women subscribe to as a whole, that we feel comfortable and good with, such as, for example, the angry Black woman or the superwoman stereotype, where we don't need a man, we can do it all. Is that really truly coming from you as an individual Black woman? Or has that been imposed on us because we didn't have boundaries up to be clear about who we are as individuals and as a larger community, as a collective of women from the Black community? So I like the way she put it, because the yeses and nos, like, all of us are in the middle of our life stories. And the yeses and the nos are what make up the different aspects of that journey that we're taking. And I've never thought about it like that before, but it's true, because every choice that you make is a yes or a no. When you get up in the morning, that's a choice. You hear the alarm and you say, yes, I'm waking up now. Or you hit the snooze button like me sometimes and you say, no, not right now. And so if you start to look at it like that, it becomes just a little more clearer and a little more black and white when you're presented with certain things outside of you. If you're indecisive, you want to start to look at it a little bit more like, what are you saying yes to? What are you receiving? And what are you saying no to? Because those become your choices, become your standards. Those are your boundaries. You're saying yes, you're going to open yourself up to certain things, or no, you're not going to receive certain things. That's like the gate swinging back and forth. So self-check guidelines. This is what we're moving into. How do you begin to do self-checks? If you are not sure you are good at setting boundaries, or indeed have any at all, because you might lack boundaries, ask yourself these questions, ladies. And again, this isn't coming from me. This is coming from that the harleytherapy.co.uk. How often do I worry about what other people think? I think as a community, we get very concerned sometimes about what other people think about us as Black women. When we see a certain Black woman being a certain way, for example, acting ghetto, hood, or ratchet, we get very concerned about how she is representing us, right? Why are we worried about what other people are thinking about someone that we may or may not even know? That shows poor boundaries. That shows loose boundaries, because we should have stronger boundaries to understand that that one person does not necessarily represent the collective of women if we are strong and secure in who we are and our standards of who we are in the community. Now, bringing it into the personal level, are you worried about what others think of you? I think a lot of us as Black women face that, especially when we're at work or we're out in the larger society, and even sometimes in our own communities. If we don't fit in to whatever is going on in that neighborhood, in that community, sometimes and this happens in other communities as well, but we want to really focus in on our own. This is about us and taking care of us. How often do you as an individual worry about what others think? And how often is that related to your race? Do you feel guilty for wanting to do things by yourself? Do you feel guilty for wanting to do things that are outside of the expected norm of what a Black chick should want to do? And you know what I mean by that. Or is it outside of the stereotype? When was the last time that you said no to something? When was the last time you said no to a movie that portrayed us in a negative light? When was the last time that you spoke up to your friends about listening to so much, I don't know, Megan Thee Stallion or Cardi B or City Girls or, whatever, right? I'm just throwing some names out there, right? When was the last time that you stood up and said, you know what? I'm not feeling that tonight. I want to listen to something a little more upbeat, a little bit more representative of my best self. When was the last time that you said yes to something that you secretly really didn't want to do? I remember I used to do that all the time. Like, my friends would want to go to these hood clubs and hang out with these hood people. And at a certain point, I felt like I had really outgrown that. And I couldn't understand why they hadn't. But I kind of said yes to going to these places, even though I most of the time did not have a good time, did not enjoy being in environments where I felt unsafe, because these places were places where shootings and fights would take place regularly. So I'm not just saying that because it was quote unquote hood. It was just the type of element that it drew. At a certain point, I just had to tell my friends, and I had to be very firm about it, that that is not me anymore, and I'm not doing that. That was a boundary I set in place, and I stood behind it. But secretly, in the previous times, I wanted to say no, but I would let them talk me into going, and then I wouldn't feel good about the whole situation. I'd be upset the entire night. Imagine that. That's because my boundaries were not in place, and I wasn't backing myself up and standing up for what I truly wanted. Do you feel like you deserve respect? Do we as Black women feel like we deserve respect? Or do you feel like you have to earn it by being overly nice or playing into stereotypes or being, overly aggressive, or you got to demand it? Do you just simply feel like you deserve respect from your calm and highest place? I know I do, but that did take some work. What are the 5 rules to gain and maintain your friendship? This is something that's very important, because a lot of us don't think about who we choose as friends and who chooses us as friends and where our boundaries lie in that, because we have sometimes a sisterhood, right? Or I got your back type of thing, right? That we should all have each other's back. But what are the rules? And I think the community is starting to pull together on some codes of conduct, which is very good, to say that, hey, you're not going to just get our support simply because you're Black. You have to maintain certain rules and guidelines and respect of me and who I am, or the community and what we're about as a community, in order to continue to get our support, friendship, love, encouragement, or for us to stand up and rally for you. Do I know them quickly and easily? Do I allow these people that I meet to just, or these outsiders even, do we just allow people, like, say, for example, with the businesses in the community, what are the rules that they must adhere to in order to gain access and maintain doing business in our community, especially as Black women, when we think about where we get our hair products, where we get our nails done, where we buy our makeup from, our clothing. You know, they make quite a bit of money off of us, but what are the rules of engagement there? Do we as a community of women, have we established a set of rules by which those who want to gain access to our financial, our wealth in our community, our spending power, as they call it, as individual women, this is something we need to think about, not just on a community level. It's not up to a leader to say, these are the rules. These are rules that we as women who demand and require and deserve respect, right, have to set for ourselves. So let's think about that. You know, what are 5 rules? Can you guys type it into the comments? What are some rules that we should set, or that you as an individual would set? What are 5 rules that you would set in order to spend money with a business? A business that is, it could be Black owned, but let's not make it harder for the Black owned. Let's set rules across the board. If I'm going to spend my money at a business, I want to see myself represented there in some way, in a positive light. If I don't see that there in their ads or in those who are employed there or have some decision-making abilities, that would be a strike 1, right? Strike 2 for me personally would be that they have some things that cater to my specific needs as a woman, a Black woman, as a woman in general. You know, another thing would be that they have like very high level of customer service when I'm doing business with them directly or indirectly. Those are just some of the things I can think of off the top of my head. You know, that their customer service is on point. You know what I'm saying? So those are the type of things I want us to start thinking about as individuals, right? And as a community. But it starts with us. All right. What are the 10 things I most like to do with my personal time? What are the 10 things that you like to do with your personal time? Write these down for yourself, right? Can you quickly come up with them? Now, if you're struggling to come up with 5 things, if you're struggling to come up with 7 things, 10 things that you love to do personally with your time, that probably means that you're allowing others to impose on your time, so that you don't even have space to think about doing something for yourself. So that's a boundary that has been breached and probably is somewhat either very weak, loose, or non-existent. And you want to start to repair that boundary by taking more me time and focusing on, if you had a day all to yourself, what would you do? And if that's too much to think about, start with an hour. If you had an hour to yourself and nothing else in this world mattered, what would you do? Money wasn't an issue. You know, your kids weren't an issue. Everything was taken care of and it was just about you. Okay? And what are 10 things that you hate doing? And I'm sure, especially for those who have a bunch of people imposing on them, you probably have a list as long as, you know, as the day is long. You probably got more than 24 things on there for every hour, right? However, it's good to identify the top 10 things so that you can begin to pull back on these things. Because if you are doing things that you hate doing, you probably should not be doing them. It probably means that you're overextending yourself and you're breaching your own boundaries to go above and beyond for other people while leaving yourself exhausted and uncared for. Do you even have any strong feelings about things? You know, do you kind of just acquiesce and go with the flow on what other people are saying or thinking or doing? I feel like sometimes as a society of women, we can be like that, where we kind of, in the past, maybe the recent past, have kind of just went along with some of the political things that were going on. We didn't question things as much as maybe we do today. So I feel like our boundaries are getting better and stronger as we're becoming more politically aware, as we're becoming more just woke, so to speak. I know it's like a so overused term, but it's the only one I can think of to describe of how our community is beginning to become more self-centered and self-indulgent, in the sense of not self-indulgent like in a negative sense, but self-indulgent in the sense of self-care, self-preservation, such as Audre Lorde says. And then one of the last things is, when you think about saying no to someone or something, do you ever feel afraid? Or do you feel calm inside? So these are the self-check guidelines. And I know I listed out quite a bit of them. And again, go to that link if you need to see them written down. And I would really encourage you, this will be one of the first things you can do to begin to really figure out where your boundaries are, is do this self-check. Sit down with these questions and just write it out. Take 20 minutes for yourself. It's worth it. It's worth it, ladies, to do this for yourself. 20 minutes, get these questions, and just jot down, do a little stream of consciousness and jot down the first few things that comes to mind for each one of these questions. And then that will be your starting place to know where you have, if any, breaches in your boundaries. And you can start to put some attention into them and repair and heal them and get them back into a place of strength, so that you're not overextended any longer. So right here is a chance where I want to bring Lisa Nichols into this. I did put the link up where she says how to love yourself first. Okay. Give yourself everything you need. Do not look outside of yourself for what you need. But I think she says it best. So let me just pull up her video real quick and let her say it in her own words.
My job is to like Lisa and to know that I'm going to bring the best version of me in every situation I can. To like me before anyone on Facebook likes me, and to know that I'm okay. What does it mean to be everything to you? That's not an arrogant statement. It's not a place of self-indulgence. It's to recognize that self-care is not selfish. It's to recognize that you can only serve others from a full cup, and that it's your job to fill yourself up. Fill yourself up with positive thinking. That's why you're here. Fill yourself up with new possibility. That's why you're here. Fill yourself up with new opportunities. Fill yourself up with having the best people on your planet. Loving yourself enough to remove unhealthy, toxic people out of your life. And you may not be able to completely remove them from your life, but you can love them from a distance.
And I know we've all heard that term and we've used that so many times, like, I'm gonna love them from a distance. That is something that we need to take seriously. And I love what Lisa is saying there. I hope you guys can hear it, because for some reason it's a little bit lower than normal. But in her video called How to Love Yourself First, which again, the link is there for you guys to check out at your leisure. You have to love you. The most important thing in creating healthy boundaries, and you're going to hear this over and over again. We heard it from Audre Lorde. We're hearing it from Lisa Nichols. You're hearing it from me, Deena Jacobs. You have to love you. You have to like you. You have to put yourself first. Self-confidence and self-care, that is the foundation upon which we, as individuals and as a collective, are going to build, repair, heal, strengthen our boundaries. And for those of us who are so tightly wound up and so closed off because of the traumas that we've experienced through childhood or recent situations, you know, racism on the job, relationship trauma, familial trauma out here in the larger society, things that you're seeing on TV that you don't even realize that are breaching your boundaries and messing with your mindset and messing with your personal values and your self-worth and who you see yourself as. We have to set that foundation of self-care as the first and foremost thing, because you know what? Your boundaries exist inside of you. And that's where you have to go in to secure yourself. Securing yourself through self-love and self-care, loving yourself, liking yourself. If you don't like yourself, if there are aspects of yourself that you want to change, your eating, how you walk, how you talk, how you think. Your self-talk is important too, because your own self-talk could be tearing down your boundaries. Self-doubt, negative thinking. A lot of this has been imposed upon us from the greater community. This is where we're having lack of healthy boundaries. That lack of healthy boundaries only ever exists inside of us. When you become strong with your standards, when you become strong with taking time for you, when you're dealing with racist situations, when you're having negative thoughts about being a Black woman or a Black person or the community or the greater, circle of friends that you have, that's a reflection of how you're feeling about yourself. And that goes back to what Dr. Chiwetel Grills was saying about Black inferiority, the plague of Black inferiority. That is something that we need to get past immediately. But the only way we can do it, and this is one of the ways that I'm talking to you about, is dealing with your boundaries as an individual. And as we continue to do that for ourselves individually, we will find commonalities with other sisters who are doing that, and that will become the foundation by which we will begin to build the boundaries of our community. Okay, so how to implement new, healthier boundaries. And I got this information. I'm not going to play a clip from it, but I found this from the holistic psychologist on YouTube. And this is a video she put up on May 12th of 2019 this year, how to implement new, healthier boundaries. And let me just take a minute really quick to do a little promotion and say thank you all so much for joining me, Deena Jacobs, live, your mindset evolutionary here on flynubianqueen.com, the network for melanated women. If you haven't already, please like, please subscribe, and please share this message. We're doing part 2 of Do Black Women Lack Healthy Boundaries in Society? Let's talk solutions. So we talked about what was going on in the previous video, which was part 1 last week. If you haven't seen it, please go and click on videos and you will see a Deena Jacobs playlist and you will see the video there. Watch that, understand what it means to lack healthy boundaries, and now we're getting into the solutions. So if you haven't, please text the word Queens to 31996. That's 31996 to get text alerts and updates. And if you would like to support us by buying some of our gear, you can go to shopfnq.com and get some merch over there. That's shopfnq.com. And feel free to follow me, Deena Jacobs Flauntz, on Instagram, on Twitter, Deena Jacobs Rants. And if you can find me, Deena Jacobs, on YouTube, you can follow me there. I do repost the videos there during the week and also post some different things that are related to Black women and mindset evolutionary. So I appreciate your support. I appreciate you being here. And let's jump back into how to implement new, healthier boundaries. Again, this is from the Holistic Psychologist channel on YouTube. So one is to create. So make small changes by doing self-checks, and we just went over that. and become less available or more available. If you're someone who has rigid boundaries and no one can get into, you want to try to make yourself a little bit more available, right? So you do your self checks, ask yourself those questions, and begin to basically create what your new set of rules are going to be for how you operate. You're going to create, if you have loose boundaries or non-existent boundaries, you're going to start to create some standards, some ways of being, some new practices. And this is going to shift your world. It's going to shake your world up a little bit. So that's why you have to have the strong foundation of self-care. And we're going to get into that even more. Number 2 is state to yourself, and then if necessary to others, what your new boundaries are. So as an individual, you're going to have to tell people sometimes, like, I don't want to hear that, or no thank you. And no matter how hard they push, no matter how loud they huff and puff, no matter how angry they get, we just have to stand firm and say, that's not me. I don't want to do that. No offense, you do you, but I am not going to do that. No, thank you. Sometimes you're going to have to say to someone, look, this is how I want to be spoken to. This is how I want to be addressed. Don't call me after 10. Don't call me before this time. Or you're going to have to let somebody know, hey, you have 10 minutes to vent about whatever you're going to talk about, and then we're going to move on. And then you have to stick to it. Or sometimes you have to tell that girlfriend when she gets into whatever, or your kids, or when they start getting into something, and you want to let them know, okay, you listen to them so they can be heard if you feel like it, if it's not taxing you, if you have enough to give. You give them that moment, and then you say, you let them vent or whatever. You don't necessarily have to give input, because sometimes that in and of itself is draining, right? And then you say, I understand. Do you have anything else? And then, if it's your kid, or if it's someone that you're trying to create an open environment for them to be heard, you can listen without getting involved. And usually they'll be like, no, that's it. I just wanted to say that. And then you're like, cool. Thank you for sharing. So what else is going on in your life? And then you can shift the conversation, or you can remove yourself and say, thank you for sharing that with me. I gotta go now. I have some things I need to handle, but I know you're gonna get through this, and I'll talk to you later. And you remove yourself. Sometimes you don't even have to do that much, but I'm giving you ways to start to put up boundaries for yourself in a way that is a little smoother. Now, there's going to be some people in your life that you're just going to have to say, look, I'm letting you know right now that I'm no longer interested in being a part of whatever that is. Some people are going to come to you and they're going to ask you to do some of the things that you used to be bending over backwards and putting yourself out for. And you're just going to have to simply say, no, I'm not available for that. And they're going to be like, why? And you're going to be like, I'm just not available for it. I apologize. I'm no longer going to be available for that. And I wish you the best of luck with it. And I know you understand. And if they don't, goodbye, because this is about you taking care of you. And this is something we are going to have to apply to the larger society as well. When they're trying to come in and encroach on our communities, when they're trying to, is it okay to hang out with us and kind of mooch off of our styles and then go and turn it into a million, a trillion, $1 billion industries? No, that's not acceptable. So we have to start saying, no, we're not going to support that. We're not going to support that music. We're not going to support that clothing line that is clearly, ripping off things that we were putting together in our community. We're going to support things that we are doing individually and collectively. Okay? We're going to support things that support us. You see what I'm saying? We're not going to watch that TV show, because that TV show has a lot of images of us that don't really resonate with who I feel like I am at the core. And this is for you to decide, ladies, because what you give your attention to, your attention is worth money. So you have to set your boundaries on what you're going to give your attention to, because they have advertisers paying hundreds of thousands and millions of dollars for an ad in between a TV show that they know Black women are watching. So if you are giving your attention to a TV show or to music or an artist or anything like that, and they're taking your attention and they're giving you back negative energy or negative images of who you are or who we are as a community or who are anything like that, that is a breach of your boundaries. So what I'm giving you is a new way to identify things and sort of, I'm giving you, not that you need me to give you permission, but just for some of those out there who may be unclear, I'm helping to clarify your vision, if you will allow, to be able to see the things around you that are insidious, that we have been making internal choices, yes or no, as the lady said. Life is a journey that we are always making choices. We're saying yes or we're saying no to. Even things that are on autopilot, such as brushing your teeth. So as we're walking through life and society, there are certain things that we're saying yes to that are not respecting us or who we are as individuals or as a community. And this is where we wake up and we start to do self-checks and say, how does that reflect me? Is that respecting me? Or is that disrespecting me? Is that music like, okay, maybe they're not speaking about me directly, but if I am listening to it and giving my energy and attention to it and my mind space to it, then there's something there that resonates with me, because we only give our attention to things that reflect in us. That's where we connect energetically. And I hope I'm not getting too deep for some of you, but I believe that you guys are very smart and you're very deep women on Fly Nubian Queen. And I know that you guys are spiritual. Even the ones who are atheists, you know what I'm talking about energetically. If you are allowing yourself to give attention to, even like say, for example, this video, you're giving yourself attention to this because there's something inside of you that says, I want to increase and make better choices so that I can have higher standards to respect and protect myself and have better boundaries as an individual and how I interact as a Black woman in society. We are the most brilliantly beautiful, gifted beings on this earth, maybe even in this universe. And it's time that we own it and we very lovingly let people know what we are willing and unwilling to accept. And it is okay for us to say, no, thank you. That does not resonate with me. And turn your attention. You know, they call it pay attention, right? Right? Spend time. These are the intangible things that we give that cannot be returned. Money, you can always make more money. You can grow money. You can lose money. Money is something that flows in and out. But your time and your attention is only ever at that present moment. And it will be gone like that and be in the past. And you have already given that away. So now when you respect yourself and you set your boundaries and you have healthy, clear, good, strong, secure boundaries in place for yourself, you are selective about what you allow yourself to resonate with, because that's all attention is your vibrational energy, your focus of energy. So we as Black women, as individual Black women, as well as a community of Black women, a collective of Black women in America, we can decide what we give our attention to, and we can decide at this moment to cease and desist giving our attention to things that do not reflect the core of who I am, who you are, and who we are as queens. If we are declaring that we are queens, then let it be so, and that the things we give our attention to only edify us and reinforce our boundaries and our standards of respect and dignity that we deserve. That is our God-given right. And it is only us who choose to give it away. So we are allowing, on some level, the larger society to breach our boundaries because we do not feel confident, some of us, in ourselves, in the belief that we are truly fly Nubian queens. Now, if you're saying that you believe you are a queen, if you are saying that you believe you are a goddess, if you are saying that we are the original creators, the original mothers of this earth, then we deserve, and we are entitled to the best that this life has to offer, and we will accept no less than that. We are raising our standards, and our standards, like a picket fence, each standard that we have is setting in place and securing our boundaries. Yes? I think you're feeling me. I hope you're feeling me. I love you guys so much. So let me continue to move forward with this. How to implement healthier boundaries. So the first step is create. Make those small changes. Do those self-checks and become clear. Create your list of boundaries and your standards for how you are going to operate and how others will operate in your presence. What do people have to do to receive your attention? What does the larger society has to do in order to receive our time, our attention? And if we create something, we don't just allow people to come in and take it and go make money off of it without giving back, without first paying their dues to us, right? No queen has ever allowed that, right? So these are just examples. They're kind of playful, some of them, but they're also very, very serious. Because this is how we are going to shift everything that's going on, not just inside of us, inside of our community, inside of America, but all over the world, and maybe even possibly across the universe. Yes, we do have that power. We do. So, number one is to create. Number two is to state. So, to yourself and then to others, if necessary, because sometimes you can just let people know by silence, by shifting your attention away from whatever it is that's going on over there that is not worthy of your attention, by removing yourself, your presence, your time, those intangible things. Let people know on a subconscious level. So sometimes you don't even have to speak it. You don't have to give somebody the side eye and be like looking at them all crazy. You can just simply say, excuse me, and walk away and don't even come back. I'm giving you a little bit of a playbook or a way to do these things. You can simply remove yourself from a conversation. You can simply start looking for another job and then hand in some resignation papers. You don't have to make a loud announcement about it. All you have to do is move yourself forward and start to say, I deserve better. And realize exactly what it is that you want, visualize it, receive it, write it down, and that's it. It's happening. It's already so. This is how we raise our standards incrementally. I would love to see you ladies write these things down and then state them out loud in the form of affirmations. You start off with the things you don't want, right? And then you move into the things that you do want, and you push the things that you don't want to the side. You don't even pay those attention anymore. Then, if necessary, you let others know. You speak about them so that they become so, right? Number three is to maintain, to implement confidently. Implement, meaning to put in place with confidence, right? Put yourself and your needs first, Black women. Put you first. Each and every one of us is a first lady in our own minds and our own lives. Put yourself and your needs first by processing feelings of guilt, shame, sadness, fear, and even loss, because as you are shifting into this new self, you will feel those things, because old feelings will be coming up into your body, into your mind, into your present space, and there will be challenges. Excuse me. I'm going to take a moment of self-care here right now. Okay, back to this message. So you will need to process those things. And for some of us, we will need professional help with this. I told you I have no problem sharing with you that I am in therapy right now, and I am really enjoying it. I have a cognitive behavioral therapist, and we are daily, each session, making breakthroughs, because I'm ready for it. I'm here for it. I'm here to be the best me. And one of the things that we're working on, and why I'm bringing this to you, is we are working on me repairing, healing, reinforcing my boundaries, and continuing to raise my standards to a level that I feel comfortable in. And so I'm sharing this with you. And this is a really glorious and exciting time for me. And hopefully, I'm really excited to be sharing it with you, this information and this part of my journey, so that it can inspire anyone who needs inspiration in this area. I feel that this is a time for us as Black women to really own who we are as queens, as the mothers of this earth, and as the co-creators of this great nation that is ours. This is ours, ladies, and it's time that we reclaim it first by reclaiming the most valuable thing that has ever been here, which is us. We are the descendants of slaves. And it's time we reclaim ourselves and build that foundation of confidence, self-care, and as Miss Audre Lorde said, right? We're looking back at this, and she says, caring for myself is not self-indulgent. It is self-preservation. What do we preserve? We preserve things of value like art, gold, money, property, real estate, right? We preserve self because self is valuable. And guess what? In today's world, that is an act of political warfare, but done from a place of grace and femininity. Do you feel me, sisters? Do you feel me, queens? That is how we fight, so to speak. But from a feminine place is by putting ourselves first, setting our standards, aka our boundaries, high in a way that is healthy, where we feel worth it and we have the value because it's instilled inside ourselves. We put the value on ourselves, not the greater society, not others. I define who I am. You define who you are. And together we can come into agreement about who we are as a community of women, and what we will and will not pay our time and attention to. That's how we increase our worth. I love this. This is so exciting to me. I hope you ladies are enjoying it too. Please let me know. Give us the thumbs up. Take a moment right now. Please like, please subscribe, and please share. This is our birthright. This is our birthright. Okay? Understand that. We are born into greatness. It's just time that we own it. Okay, the next thing, number 4, is confidence. So we have number 1 is to create, number 2 is to state, number 3 is to maintain, right? To maintain your boundaries. So in order to maintain your boundaries, as I said before, you may need to get therapy. You may need to go to a doctor for the mind. You may need to go to a doctor for the body. And you may need to go to the Creator for your spirit to get healing in those areas. I've done all of that. I've done all of that. I had to get right in my body. I didn't have any illnesses per se, but I wasn't treating my temple in the best way. I wasn't honoring my temple. So I had to get right with that and really understand food. And now I'm on a very plant-based diet. I do intermittent fasting. I try not to overstuff myself. I try to feed myself to live, right? Also, now I'm in therapy. I've done a lot of work on my own, getting in touch with who I am and the different things that I could do on my own. I said, you know what, in order to button this up and really, you know how if you're building a house or if you're taking any big undertaking and you're feeling like you've done everything that you can do, now it's time to call in a professional. And that professional guides you, or they do whatever work that they can do to input to make sure everything is on the up and up, to make sure it's done at the highest, most professional level. So that's why I'm in therapy right now, because I feel like I've done everything I can do. I read all the books, I watched all the videos, I meditated, I prayed, I did everything that I could do. And now I'm just speaking with her to make sure that I am buttoning everything up, that I'm making sure that I'm building on my very strong foundation, because I'm getting that outside professional input. So if you can look at it that way, then therapy is not so scary, because therapy should be a safe place for you to talk through the guilt, talk through the shame, talk through the sadness, talk through the fear, and even cope with some of the loss that you are going to experience over your old self, because you're going to have to let go of your old self, your old feelings of Black inferiority. I'm a double negative, I'm Black and a woman. All those old thoughts, that residual ratchetness, that mammyism, that angry Black woman, that Jezebel, all of that is stemming from those feelings I talked about. And as they come up, you want to process them. And you can do it here with me on a certain level. I'm giving you tools. A professional. And as a sister, as a fellow queen, I encourage you to do that. I want to see you win, sis. And I know deep inside you have it in you to face that, because you are a woman. And not just any woman. You're a Black woman. You're melanated. You're a queen. So you can handle this. It's not going to be, let me not make it out like it's super easy, but it is worth it. You are worth it. You have to feel that you are worth it. And that is what boundaries are laid. That is the foundation upon which strong, healthy boundaries are built upon. Your own self-worth, your own value. You are worth it. And you can get through it. And I'm excited to see us, on the other side, when we're really sitting on that throne. Number 4, I just talked about, is confidence. So I was giving you that pep talk. Secure yourself, right? And the last but not least, and we've been touching on it all along, is self-care. Self-care. Put that focus on you. It's about you, sister. It's about me. It's about us. Everything is about us. If you really look at it and start breaking it down, it's all about us. Black American women are the most amazing women. Look at what we've built, America. Look at everything. Everybody in the world is trying to be like us right now. They're trying to have skin like us. They're trying to have hair like us. They're trying to have bodies like us. They're trying to walk like us. They're trying to talk like us. Look at that. Look at what we have created. Now, if we weren't great, would they be imitating us? Would they be bothering to imitate us if we weren't great? Let's just reclaim that by taking care of us. It's not about them anymore. It's about us. You feeling me on that, sisters? Are you with me? It is about me. It's all about me. And I'm not talking about being a narcissist. I'm talking about making it about how do you feel. If something doesn't feel good to you, don't do it. And this is different from the deep work. Now, when I'm talking about doing the deep work, I want you to, if you haven't already, I think HBO has a documentary about Serena Williams. And I really like that documentary because you see a woman who knows how to make choices in life that where she wins. She makes choices in life where she sees herself winning. And she pushes herself through those hard moments. And she makes those yes and no decisions. And she moves herself forward. She is truly a goddess. Serena is a goddess. I would love for you to go watch that. There's some inspirational moments in there. And watch with an open mind about being the best of who you can be and pushing past tough moments. And there's a moment in there where her father is not able to make it to her wedding. And you see Serena handle that in such a way that you're like, wow, this woman is really grounded. Because she is able to not take it personally and see from her father's perspective of where he may not be in a physical health place or mental place or whatever to be able to come to her wedding. And she is like, I'm not going to sit here and get upset about that. This is my day. This is my life. And I'm going to keep moving forward in enjoyment and do what I need to do so that I can continue to have my best life, live my best life. She doesn't get thrown off because she knows her worth and her boundaries are in place. I love it. Check it out. It's really good. I think it's I forget what it's called. It's something Serena, not becoming Serena, but like being Serena, I think it is. So put the focus on yourself. Self-check, process your feelings. Love, heal, and forgive your past. Forgive yourself for not honoring who you are as a queen. Forgive yourself. Forgiveness of self is the most important thing. Then you can start to forgive others as you need to, as you see fit, to let go of past hurts, past pains, right? So we are pretty much at the end of this video, and I had a great time with you here because I love talking about solutions. I like to identify problems when necessary. But as I told you, anytime I identify an issue, I am going to bring to you ladies possible solutions as well. That I would never just bring you an issue and say, okay, this is this issue and get you all riled up about it. If it is true, if you do feel it is true and believe that women, Black women lack clear, healthy boundaries in larger society and also maybe in our own community and even within our closer knit circles, then here are some of the solutions. Go back and watch this video when you get a moment. I really appreciate you being here. We do have another little clip from Lisa Nichols, another sister, and I want to play that to kind of take us out here. But stay with me, my beautiful queens. So this is from Lisa Nichols' video. Let's see. I think this is how to create healthy boundaries, okay?
We train people how to treat us. Like they're looking at what we're saying yes to and what we're co-signing on. And if we're the yes woman or the yes man all the time, then one, our yes isn't as valuable because everyone automatically expects it because we give it away all the time. And two, they're going to keep asking because they know they're going to get yes. And if you're a producer and deliverer, you're the one I'm going to come to all the time because you're a producer and deliverer. You're going to get the job done, even to the detriment of your own joy, even to the detriment of your own happiness. But again, you train people how to treat you.
You train people how to treat you. We have to take ownership of that and responsibility in today's times that we have allowed the larger society to treat us in a way that is disrespectful. We have to own that so that we can regain control of it. Do you see what I'm saying? Once we can own that, take responsibility and stop being like, y'all treating us this way, and we tired of this, and we tired of that. Okay, so what are we going to do about it? We choose who and what and where we give our attention to. We choose where and who we spend time with, where we spend our money. If we don't like how certain groups are treating us, let's cease and desist doing business with them. I was tired of going to the nail salon and having those women treat me a certain way. Now, no one hit me or anything like that, because again, I have a certain boundaries and certain ways of being that would never be the case for me. However, I felt disrespected. I felt talked down to. I felt that I wasn't getting the proper customer service. And so what I did was remove my time, my attention, and my money from those places. And I found a new nail salon that is Black owned. It is a little more pricey, but the environment is calm. I'm respected. I'm treated very well as a customer, and I don't have people in there throwing shade and acting a fool and acting a mess and treating me like I don't matter and I'm nothing when I'm spending my time, my attention, and my money there. Do you understand what I'm saying, ladies? We deserve better. Start owning that. Own that. We train people how to treat us. So when we continue to patronize businesses, when we continue to listen to certain type of music, when we continue to support certain institutions or certain situations that are reflective of who we are in a negative light, then we have to admit, we have to own that we're not valuing ourselves and we don't have the proper healthy boundaries in place. But we can change that. We can fix that. You have the power. I just want you to know that I love you so much, and I'm so happy that you're here to join me. Let's see, it is past 8 o'clock. It's about 7 minutes past 8. But I want to take a moment to just maybe scroll through some of your comments here and see if I can read a few of them and say thank you, my brilliantly beautiful gifted beings, my lovely Black woman, my fly Nubian queens, for joining me here. Deena Jacobs Live, your mindset evolutionary, here every Sunday night from 7 p.m. Pacific time and 10 p.m. Eastern time on flynubianqueen.com on Facebook and YouTube. And please like, subscribe, and share this video if you haven't already. I'm expecting you to give us a thumbs up, the hearts, the likes, the love, because I'm sending all my love out to you, my beautiful people. Let's see what you have to say. We have Freddie Smith says, respect, protect, and love that woman forever. NOI.org. Dean Beeman says, I have a few women friends that allow their families to constantly take advantage of them due to a lack of solid boundaries. It happens a lot with our families. And that's something that we need to change, you know. We love our families, but not to our detriment. We don't want to work ourselves to death. We don't want to stress ourselves out taking care of our entire family. We have to take care of ourselves first. Freddie Smith says, no is a complete sentence. I 100% agree. Romel Harris says, tuning in from Chicago. Hey, Chi-Town. Romel Harris says, shared 100. Thank you. You know what? I want to say thank you to everyone, because last week's video, Do Black Women Lack Healthy Boundaries in Society, Part 1, was my highest viewed video. It had almost 7,000 views, and it was shared over 40 times. I just want to say thank you so much to everyone who is feeling these messages that I'm bringing of love and, you know, valuing yourself and your worth, increasing your worth as a Black woman, as a queen out here, and really going on this mindset evolution journey with me. So thank you for that, and continue to share this. I think there are others who would really benefit from this message, because I know I am benefiting from this time that I'm sharing here with you. I'm learning something every time I'm coming to you. Tracy Sabri says, I need this. Thank you. I love you, darling, and I'm so glad that, you know, I need this. So I'm so glad that you're getting something from this. Tracy's put a lot of, she says, the subconscious, protect our gates. Absolutely, protect your gates. Yolanda PPSC, Chi-Town Stewart, thank you. You are so welcome. You are most welcome. Tracy Sabri says, wow, we do pay attention. It costs us. Okay, I get it. Yes, I know you get it. I know so many of you get it, because you know what? It took me a minute to get it. You pay attention. So if you are paying attention to all the ratchetness, then that is what you're going to have in your life. If you're paying attention to all these pseudo gay men. We don't know if they're gay. We don't know if they're straight. Situations out here. You know what? Let's start ignoring them. They come out talking about they did this with that man. Okay, if that's not what you want in your life, then we have to ignore it. And my therapist told me this. She was like, what you pay attention to is a reflection of what you are drawn to inside yourself. So let's see, we have Tracy Sabri said it is critical to do this now, especially. Absolutely. Tracy's on it tonight. I'm glad you're feeling the message. If I can even touch one person, I've touched 1 million people, because I know this one person is one lady, Tracy, who is speaking out in addition to the rest of you as well. Each and every one of you stands for 1 million people. So share this, because there are other women out here who need to see part 1 and need to see part 2, so that they can realize that attention is worth something. Our time is worth something. Everything we do is worth something. We, as Black women, are of the highest value. Look at what we have created. Look at what we have built. Look at what everyone else is out here imitating and trying to be. It's us. Let's reclaim it. Let's own it. Let's love it. And let's embrace it. And let's secure it by raising our standards, raising our worth and our value. And no is a complete sentence. I'm having fun with this. I hope you guys don't mind. Ahmed Ibrahim says, wow, cool. DJ says, well, I agree with that. You hit people in the pocket. Number 1, check, 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 check. And then April Darden was my last commenter tonight, and she said, truth spoken. Absolutely. I'm so glad that you, ladies and gentlemen, are feeling this. I love you so much from the bottom of my heart, and I'm so glad to be with you here every Sunday at 7 p.m. It is an honor and a privilege that you are paying your time and attention here to me, and I'm paying my time and attention. You see how it's reciprocal, and we're building and instilling healthy boundaries, right? I affirm you, you affirm me, and that's how we grow. That's how we lock arms. And again, I just want to leave you with this from Audre Lorde. Caring for myself is not self-indulgent. It is self-preservation. I preserve what is valuable. I am valuable. And that, my sisters and brothers, is an act of political warfare from a feminine place. You feel what I'm saying? From a feminine place. When we as Black women focus on ourselves and our own self-care, that is an act of revolution and evolution, because we elevate ourselves and our value. I think I've harped on that enough tonight, right? Anyway, I'm feeling so good after this, and I'm glad to have you here. I love you so much. I'm going to end this now. Have a wonderful night, and please, if you haven't already, go to Fly Nubian Money to learn about your money, because, you know, we want to know how to grow your money and increase its value. And if you have a business idea, which I know a lot of us are very creative in that area, please go to flynubianbusiness.com and learn how to start a business. You know, we should be running our own businesses in our own communities. So if you haven't already, please text the word Queens to 31996 so you can get text alerts and updates. And please subscribe to this channel so that you can know the next time that Deena Jacobs will be live, as well as the other queens who have amazing things that they do on this channel. They talk about politics, they talk about current events, they talk about hair, they talk about money, they talk about everything. And occasionally we do have Dr. Boyce come on to our channel and discuss things with the queens. And we do have some mental health professionals on here too. I think they come on at 5 or 6 p.m. before I do. You should check them out as well. So anyway, I'm going to end this here and say have a wonderful night, and I hope you have an amazing week with this information. Check back in with me anytime on Instagram. Let me know how you're doing. I'd love to hear from you. Good night.